Hello there, fellow Monster Madness ghouls and goblins. You're currently hearing the voice of a girl with no name, and it's here with very, very clear intentions to sound the alarm. Before you listen any further, beware that frightful spoilers and deliciously explicit language lie ahead. For once you find yourself in the midst of those telltale bumps in the night and the haunting howls of host laughter and cinematic judgment, there is no turning back. Choose wisely.
How are you? Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees, an old friend of the Christies. Oh, thank you. That's so right. No, dear, I can't help you if you don't calm down.
But she's dead, and he's dead, and oh my God, poor Bill. Oh God.
All right. Come on, dear, then show. No, but it's all right. I'll take care of you. I used to work for the Christies. Oh,
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monster Madness, a podcast dedicated to all sorts of creature features and beyond. My name is Erika Gwynn, and I'm here to welcome you to the show yet again. Join with me are the only two men who I know at least one of them was a legit camp counselor and would never let Jason drown. The other one, probably. We have Daniel Gwynn.
I don't know. I might have let him drown because I wasn't a lifeguard. I probably might not have been paying attention.
Well, that's good to know.
I was like, oh, I don't know where he's at.
And Matt Stein.
I can't even swim, so.
Uh-oh.
You can't swim?
I can't tread water.
Wait, are you being funny? Is this a bit?
100% serious. I'm glad that you thought it was a bit, but no. Dramatic portion of my youth.
Can you float?
Well, treading water is floating, so no. Like, I understand the act of swimming, but I cannot keep myself afloat.
Like if he just was like,
Like, I could swim.
We're going to teach him how to swim when he comes and visits.
It's happening at this point. When I start to freak out, everybody's going down.
Get you some water wings and we'll teach you.
No, I just usually stay in the shallow end. I can sit there and then I can just drink and then pee. No one even knows.
I'll get you one of those floaty chairs.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
You mean like an inner tube?
No, the one that's like a recliner, but it's
an inner tube.
That's like the best one.
It's just shaped like a
I'm not
chair.
going to get him like one of those whales or nothing.
As always, before we get into the episode, now that we know a shit ton of information, we have some info to give to you. You can find Monster Madness on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as all other obscure social media platforms. There are a few ways you can support our show if you feel so inclined. For the cost of nothing, you can go on to Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, write reviews wherever you can write a review. Give a couple of fives, please give it 5 stars. Do it. It takes nothing. It costs 0 cents and it costs maybe 2 minutes of your life. Please do it. It's greatly appreciated by us. You can also buy merch on tpublic.com or become a Patreon. So I'm still on the fact that Matt will drown in the deep end. Yep. But on this episode, we will be talking the first film in an epic franchise, 1980's Friday the 13th.
Hey, wasn't that the road up for Camp Crystal Lake back there? I think we better stop. Please?
So Friday the 13th premiered on May 9th, 1980, which, why wouldn't you try and get it to premiere on a Friday the 13th? But, whatever. I wasn't marketing the movie. It's rated R, has a runtime of 95 minutes, and it is considered a horror, mystery, and thriller. So, some writing credits for this film, we have Victor Miller and Ron Kurz. It stars Betsy Palmer, Adrienne King, Jan Taylor, Robbie Morgan, Harry Crosby, Kevin Bacon, Mark Nelson, who plays Ned, and we'll touch on Ned a lot because I can't stand him. And honorable mention, we have Ari Lehman, that plays Jason. Some taglines for the film we have: on Friday the 13th, they began to die horribly. 1, ... lots of dots, by 1. Lucky 13? I think not. If you think it means bad luck, you don't know the half of it, in all caps. Kill, kill, kill. Don't make plans for Sunday. You'll wish it were only a nightmare. Fridays will never be the same again.
Why would they bring up Sunday then?
Technically, overnight, you'd still make it Saturday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Basically, you're just not making it to the end of the weekend.
All right, I'm just saying.
A 24-hour nightmare of terror. They were warned. They are doomed. And on Friday the 13th, nothing will save them. And finally, you may only see it once, but that will be enough. They're not that great.
No, none of them were. But I also don't think they knew what they were starting with this.
Absolutely not. But with that, what was the budget, Matthew?
$550,000. Yeah, it's actually a lot more than I thought.
For 1980, for sure.
Got to get the old inflation calculator.
No.
You should just have that as like an extra tab.
Oh wow. That's $550,000 in 1980 is $1.7 million now.
So still really not that much. It's more than doubled, but
215.4%.
Like we always say, like, oh, it doesn't seem like that much. I would shit myself if someone was like, here's $1.something million. I'd be like, $1.7
But for what this movie was, like $550,000 seems like a lot. Like there was a bunch of effects, practical effects.
Yeah.
Although we'll get there when we get there, but I'm pretty sure I saw 2 or 3 bodies' eyes moving.
Probably, for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, outside of the effects, it was outside. It was just camera. There was no one really known in this. I don't know if Betsy Palmer was really even known at this time.
Yes, she was.
She was.
Yeah, she's probably the most famous person in the movie. And you didn't even know she was in the movie until the end.
What about Kevin Bacon?
No, this was his first.
At the time, this was
his first movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even put that together.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Johnny Depp with Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Not Friday the 13th. Sorry, Nightmare on Elm Street.
He was in this too. What?
Wait, what version was Johnny?
He played
Depp
the
in?
trees.
Speaking of practical effects, and I know we'll get to it, but that was probably one of my favorite practical effects is the Kevin Bacon death scene. I mean, it's not that great of a practical effect, and it's not even that great of a death scene, but I just love the discoloration between his very tan face and his gray neck. I loved it. I was like, you even try to just put like a little makeup on that, but I digress.
Ooh, not his first movie.
It wasn't?
His 4th movie.
Oh shit! I always thought this was like
seasoned.
marked down as like Kevin Bacon's first film.
His first movie?
Yeah.
National Lampoon's Animal House.
Really? He's in that?
Oh, I think he's a waiter in that.
Chip Diller.
I haven't seen that in a long
movie
time.
in a very, very long time. Yeah.
Because oddly enough, I watched an interview that he did the other day. It was basically I like I think like Vanity Fair and like GQ do a lot of these actor interviews where they have them break down their most infamous role, like break down their careers. And I was like, oh, let me just watch the Kevin Bacon one. And I do vaguely remember him being like a waiter in one movie, and then he's like a frat boy in another. So I'm assuming that's Animal House, and then maybe one other thing that they skipped over because then they went right to Friday the 13th.
So he played husband in a young couple in Starting Over, and then second teenager in Hero at Large.
Second teenager is important, not as important as first teenager.
No.
All right, so now that we know the tagline, some information about said film, Dan, would you like to walk us through Friday the 13th and hopefully not a long diatribe?
Yeah, I'll give you the rundown of this movie. So the beginning of this movie starts out at a summer camp where 2 camp counselors sneak off into a cabin during a campfire sing-along to have sex. As they are in the midst of taking their clothes off and fooling around, they are caught by someone. This person immediately starts stabbing them, eventually killing both of them.
Was Friday the 13th the first movie that started doing, like, in horror films, that freeze frame? And, like, that slow motion, like, right when, like, an epic kill was about to happen? It only happens twice in this film, but I feel like, isn't that, like, notorious for Friday the 13th movies? That, like, zoom in and freeze frame kind of slow-mo thing?
I mean, they do it because it's like a horror movie.
Yeah, but I think this is the first.
Because you have seen that probably the rest of the franchise more exclusively than I have. Is that like something they do in a lot of them, or no?
I don't remember in the later movies, like maybe 2 and 3, that they would have done it, but
yeah, I can't remember at all. But I'm just trailing off.
Well, no, and I'm trying to think. In Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I know that there's a lot of close-up shots, but I don't think they like froze shots much.
Yeah, I feel like this was the first time I noticed that. I don't know why, it just stuck out in my brain, but I just remember that they were trying to bone, and then they got interrupted.
Yeah, like, oh, we're not doing nothing.
They're always trying to bone.
What dude is not trying to bone all the time?
This one. I respect women.
Good call, Matt.
I mean, I do, but I'm still trying to bone all the time.
Hashtag truth time.
Yeah, right. Just want to fuck.
Bone.
DTF.
Doing tip drills.
Continue, Daniel.
All right, so next, a time jump occurs, and a young woman named Annie enters a town with a backpack while walking up to a gas station / diner to ask for directions. She's a little petting a little dog. Then the town people immediately ask why she's there and she insists that she's headed to Camp Crystal Lake for a summer job. Old man named Ralph, Mr. Creepo, quickly warns Annie about taking the job and calling it Camp Blood. Then a truck driver interferes and states he can take Annie to the campground right away, and they immediately leave.
Now, you, Daniel, amongst the three of us, have been the only one to not only go to camp, but also be a camp counselor.
Yeah.
Did the camp that you go to have any, like, other nicknames than, I mean, you can say what it's like the name
Any
of
other
camp.
nicknames? Not
like
that I
Camp
knew.
Blood?
No, I mean,
Camp
it was just
Boner.
It was just Camp Okanagan.
There it is. Okay,
Camp
I was
Boner
just curious.
Sinker.
Yeah. No, not that I knew of. That it was some. I never heard of it being named something else.
Yeah, but your camp, it was like an exclusive camp. Like you had to be a part of like Boy Scouts.
Yep.
To be okay.
Yeah. Now they think they do Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, anything with scouting. Like people can book the camp and go there.
So it would have been a little bit different than the camp that.
Yeah,
these
probably a
people are-
lot more strict. This is probably what, a standard summer camp.
I guess so. Did you ever go to one of those?
I didn't go. I used to go to like day summer camp. We didn't spend the night, so that didn't happen.
Okay, I have a lot of questions about camps, so I'm going to pepper them
I'm
in.
the camp expert now.
Well, yeah, you're the only one who went. That's
All right,
like
ask away.
if I needed like a douchebag reference or like expert, I'd ask Floppy over here.
Oh, burn.
If I wanted to know what it was like to be a boner garage, I would ask you.
Oh, Brego.
That kind of sounds like a compliment. A boner garage?
You house.
That's a band name right there.
Yeah, explain your insult if it's an insult.
It's actually. I mean, if you were considered a boner garage, you just have various dudes' boners parked inside you all the time.
Mm.
You're a monogamous boner garage, though.
That's true.
Just me.
And this garage is shut down right now. It's busy. It's under
Under
maintenance.
maintenance.
Yep.
Continue.
Okay.
Okay.
While driving, the truck driver named Enos,
Anus?
E-N-O-S, Enos.
I think it's Ennis. What did you say first?
I said Enos.
Like Thanos?
Yeah.
Ennis.
That's where my brain went.
Don't go to
Like-
Camp Crystal Lake. Finger snap.
That's where my brain went for a moment.
I am inevitable.
Now Camp Doom. While driving, Enos, the truck driver, tells Annie all about the curse of Camp Blood and how it came about. He tells her that a young boy drowned in the lake before all the murders happened, and the killer has never been caught.
Da-da-da.
He then lets her out and insists that he can't take her any further. Annie then starts to walk towards the camp by foot. While walking, she decides to catch the next car that approaches. She jumps into a Jeep and tells the driver she's headed to Camp Crystal Lake. The driver eventually drives past the entrance, and he brings this to the driver's attention, but the person does not stop. She starts to panic and jumps out of the Jeep into the woods. As she lands, she slightly hurts, I guess, her ankle.
For sure.
The driver eventually catches up to her and slits her throat, the killer.
Slices up.
Now, this is the second murder that we saw.
Yeah.
How about the music? What'd you think of that? Because I thought it was very psycho-ish.
I know you have words about the music. Yeah, no, it's very derivative of the psycho music.
Did you get that feeling when you were watching, Matt?
Mm-mm.
No?
No, because he's not a huge psycho fan.
Right.
I mean, like it's different, but to me, like it's slightly there.
It's like what Under Pressure is to Vanilla
Under
Ice's.
Pressure.
What's Vanilla Ice's song?
Dun,
Ice
Dun,
Ice
dun,
Baby.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ice,
it's
Ice
very.
Theirs goes doon 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 doon. Mine goes doon 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 doon. Exactly what he said.
You music
Oh yeah,
man.
no, that he's quoting Vanilla Ice, that douchebag. He's like, mine's different. Theirs goes dun 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 dun. He's like, mine is dun 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 dun.
Yep.
It's like, really, you fucko?
Because he didn't want to pay them.
Yeah, for sure. But see, and you would probably know better than either one of us, Matt. Ooh, expert corner.
Wait, is this a question about being a douchebag?
No.
So then you lied.
I did lie. That little change, like that little minute or addition, truly made it so that they couldn't sue him.
Back then, probably.
Do you think something like that would have been like able today? Because I feel like every time
it's a percentage now.
Yeah.
So like it has to be a certain percentage or less of the original tune.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's why I don't know if you listened to Worst Episode Ever.
No.
Or not when it was coming out. But if they would sing something, they're always like, "Oh, stop," because you can legally do so much before it's a certain percentage of the song, and then you have to pay the royalty rights. Yeah. So sampling is a similar thing. So like if you cover a song, you have to pay to use that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I just, I feel like every time I see anything in like music news, it's always like so-and-so is suing so-and-so for using their song and blah, 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 blah. It's just like, well, I get it. No, I truly get it. But it's like some things are so hard that is so blatant. Like Vanilla Ice's thing with Queen and all that is very, very blatant. What he's bringing up it is very similar to like the Psycho theme, and I honestly kind of don't know how they got away with it.
Does he ever change it over time?
The music?
Yeah, like I haven't seen every movie from this franchise.
No, it's pretty true to it.
Friday the 13th only literally has one kind of like chunk of music. It's not like Halloween where you have like multiple themes.
Where they change it up just a bit.
Well, like, like in Halloween, which we talked about last time, on our regular scheduled episode, you have the dun 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 dun, and that's the normal theme. And then like if there's like a lull, you'll have like the dun 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 dun. Like they have stuff like that, and like bump bump bump. You have like these multiple different themes that kind of like pop up throughout the movie. I feel like in Friday the 13th, if I remember correctly, it's usually just the music that we hear, which is kind of very similar to like the Psycho build-up music. Not like the re, but
they do a little of that too.
A little bit, but not a lot. I feel like I'm just doing sound effects in this episode. I'm getting
doing
like
real good. You're a soundboard.
Yeah, right now. But
beep doop beep doop.
Beep beep bop a doop.
So next, the camp counselors are back at the camp, and they're getting the place ready for the summer. While getting ready, they receive a visit from a local cop on a motorcycle looking for a townsman named Ralph that they haven't met yet, but we saw about him a little earlier.
Yeah, Ralph's a great.
Yeah. So the group of young counselors joke around, but eventually tell the cop that they haven't seen him. Later, a counselor is visited by Ralph when opening the kitchen pantry. Ralph jumps out and says, "You're all doomed."
"I'm Ralph, bitch."
My name's Ralph, bitch.
And he just walks away like that was it.
Like they're very I can't think of the word, but very unfazed by this random
Like if that
dude.
happened, wouldn't you be like, "I'm out"?
I would have hit him with a pan or something. I would have screamed.
She just lets him walk like, "Oh, there's the door."
I don't know.
So after Ralph leaves, a rainstorm approaches and Steve, the owner, leaves to go get more supplies. Marcy and Jack later enter a cabin and, of course, have some sex.
The most boring sex ever.
Yeah.
That was my sex music, guys.
I liked it.
While Marcy leaves to wash up.
Ew.
Yeah, yep, gotta clean up that slot.
Oh.
Yeah, Jack is attacked by the killer. The killer kills him by laying underneath the bunk bed and drives an arrow through the bed, and it goes right through his throat, killing our man.
Do you think the killer was literally under there the whole time? He was like slowly gyrating on that girl?
Yeah, of course. Although they probably could have like snuck in.
And that's how Kevin Bacon died in this film.
Yeah, because like he's like just smoking either a cigarette or weed, so she could have just like closed his eyes and she could have just snuck underneath, but
it's possible. I did laugh every time they would call weed grass.
Oh yeah.
Let's get some grass.
You think they kept any of that grass around?
So Marcy hears the commotion and opens the shower curtain to look for Jack. As she does, the killer drives an axe into her head, killing her.
Oh, I like this one. That was a good one. I mean, it was just a good effect.
Now do you think that was a little bit of like a Psycho type-ish? Because like, when the girls gets killed in the shower, she gets killed in the shower.
Well, Friday the 13th is very, like, at least the first one is very notorious for having many, many, many homages to.
That's what I was like. Do you think there was an homage for that?
It could have been. I mean, it's very subtle if it was, because I didn't think of it in that way, but I was just really excited to see someone get an axe to the face, because I like the Kevin Bacon kill. I mean, that's horrifying to literally just be relaxing post coitus and then just have a fucking arrow go through your neck. Like, that's pretty jarring. even though his neck was gray.
I don't think that would kill you right away, though. I think he'd be grasping for air.
Well, you'd probably drown in your own blood.
Something like that. I think he'd be twitching out or something.
In your neck, there is the jugular.
But she went right through the middle.
Daniel, I think you're thinking a little too technical. The man died.
All right.
And then his girlfriend got an axe to the face. She died.
Ouch. So while all that's happening, the other group of counselors, Bill, Alice, and Brenda, are playing strip Monopoly in Alice's cabin. Mid-game, Brenda remembers she left her window open in her cabin, so she heads back to the cabin and decides, after she closes the window, to go to bed. While there, she hears a faint "help me" coming from outside. Suspicious, she walks to the door and looks out with a flashlight. She then hears something again and walks into the woods and ends up at the archery range. The killer turns on the blinding lights and she's killed off screen.
There's just a lot of no in that. Like, okay, as a camp counselor, I'm assuming you have a shit ton of responsibilities. Like, oh, you should inspect if you hear the words "help me." But number one, there's no kids there yet. Number two, it's downpouring. Number three, she's in her nightie gown. No. I would just be like, well, I'll find them in the morning.
I didn't hear that. Shut the door.
You didn't hear anything. Click. I don't know. I mean, maybe in the situation, if it were to arise, I'd feel a little bit differently. But
some camps would be like, go to sleep.
Also,
yeah.
Ned has already disappeared at this point and is, I'm presuming, dead, which I was okay with because Ned was the most annoying, obnoxious dude in this fucking movie. So you got 3 people dead, and nobody's really
noticed,
especially because they're playing strip Monopoly, and it's only 3 of them. Why wouldn't they be like, hey, where are the other 3? Well, obviously they knew the other 2 were probably off having sex, which is fine.
Well, in the bunk bed scene, isn't the other guy, there's a guy dead in that room, in that cabin, just like in a higher bunk? Or is that later?
I think that's later.
I got my scenes mixed up.
There's a lot of carnage coming up. But it's just one of those things that, like, I'm when there's only, like, a handful of people, I'd be like, huh, where are they at? Like, why wouldn't they be hanging out with us at night while there's a horrific thunderstorm and it's kind of a little bit spooky because we're in the middle of nowhere. And, I don't know, maybe a couple hours before, there was this creepy guy named Ralph just breaking into our camp. You know, whatever. Fucking Ralph. Also, there's like snakes coming about all the time.
There was just one snake in the cabin that they're like, kill it.
They killed that very haphazardly. And
do you think it was a real snake?
Sorry, Peter, it was a real snake that they killed.
Oh, be damned.
Yeah, they chopped that snake up.
They paid for it.
Well, I'm sure they did, or they got it from the woods.
They found it in the woods.
I don't know.
Actually, was in there. That wasn't even scripted.
I don't know. Well, do you know what kind of snake that was, Daniel? Just by looking at it, it was a black snake.
It was a black snake.
Fuck off. I don't know.
It's not my forte to name snakes.
Forte?
That's what I said. What, guys?
We were just correcting you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
As usual. Did you just Google what type of snake it was?
No, I looked in the Wikipedia to see if it had the snake, and
I was just curious to see if it was like a snake that would actually be in that area that they could have just found. But
if somebody knows,
matter.
Write it in a review. Let us know.
1 star. It's a black mamba, bitch. And then
I don't think it's the black mamba. Yeah.
That's the thing that popped. That's the only thing. I was like, I could go copperhead, but it was a black snake.
I'm thinking of that jackass when they put the sock on and whack people.
Wait, what?
Black Mamba. It's the one thing where it's like a joke where you put the sock on you act like it's a snake and you come up and you whack people in the face.
Is that game? Is that a fucking game you play by yourself? Because I've never heard of that game.
I put the sock on my hand and then I beat off. I call it my black mamba.
No one beside
I'm
me.
a black mamba.
I'm gonna get you.
You don't understand how horrified I would be if I walked in a room and you were doing that. Not only would I record it and then send the video to Matt first, but then I would accost you.
What would I be doing? What else am I doing?
I have no idea.
Oh, no. No.
Why are you screaming no and like...
That's you.
Oh, that's me. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, continue with your... She's out in the archery.
Oh, yeah. So she screams. She's getting killed. Bill and Alice.
Wait, how did she get killed? I don't remember now. Did they Do they just kind of...
She kind of just like goes off into the, like, gets attacked.
Oh, okay. They don't like show like an axe in the face.
No, this one was kind of, I think
most of them were kind of
hidden.
Off camera.
Yeah, because at this point you don't know who the killer is, so they kind of only have so many camera angles that they don't want to show you the full person.
No, I get it.
So it's kind of like she gets attacked, and then you hear the screaming, and then like it kind of goes darker because she leaves from the lighted area into the woods.
No, I get it, man.
Yep. So while that's happening, Bill and Alice hear the screams that come from her and decide to investigate, because that's what everybody does. Oh, I heard that. I'm going to go look.
Let's go check it out.
They find the bloody axe that killed Marcy. They decide to call the police and discover that the phone line has been cut. Dun dun dun. They head for the car and find out it won't start. Dun, dun, dun. Meanwhile, Steve is at a diner having a good old time. As he finishes, he goes back to the camp, but gets stuck on a path and he has to walk it up. As he approaches the camp, he's greeted by someone familiar that ends up killing him too.
And what's interesting is, because if you go into this movie blind and you don't know who the killer is, typically people who see this person, they're not surprised to see them. Some of them have like a familiar, like especially Steve. He's just like, "Oh, what are you doing out in this mess?" And then whoever...
So when, like, to me, first time I saw it, I'm like, this person's got to work at the camp.
Well, here's the thing. Unfortunately, the first time I saw this movie, I already knew who the killer was. I have never not known who the killer was. So it was never a surprise to me when they show their face.
Well, I think the first Jason movie I saw wasn't this one. So I'm like, oh, I know about Jason. But then you told me you're like the first one isn't Jason. So the whole time I'm like, who is it? And I didn't really know the full...
Who is it?
The whole full story behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I always knew that Jason didn't come until the second one. And even then you don't see him in the ski. Oh my God, I always say ski mask, hockey mask until the third one. Yeah, the second one, he has the bag over his head, and then, it's so on and so forth. Most people look at Friday the 13th and just associate it with Jason, not who the original killer was and is. So, continue.
So things get worse, and next all the lights go out at the camp, and Bill leaves to turn on the generator pretty slowly. He's just walking over there like, I gotta turn the generator on. Alice then heads to help after some time passes since the power still isn't on. She finds Bill's body pinned to the door by arrows, which I don't think that's possible. Do you think those arrows would hold up that body?
I mean, if a butcher knife could hold up Bob in Halloween, why not a couple
Bob
arrows?
the Builder.
Well, it's not like he jumped in the air. Like, you got to pick the guy up and then stab him without the bow. You got to do it by hand.
Well,
that's some force.
If you try hard enough, I mean, that kid wasn't that big. It wasn't
a little scrawny kid.
Yeah, it's not like we're trying to hang up like you or Matt onto a wall. It would be like trying to hang up me on a wall.
Yeah. So Alice panics because Bill's, pinned to a door with arrows, and she decides to head back to the other cabin because there's so many. While in the cabin, Brenda's body is thrown through the window. Alice runs out to a car approaching and meets Mrs. Voorhees, who introduces herself. What? So you know who the killer is at this point. This I was kind of confused with. So like, she threw the body through there, and then how did that scene happen? Like, she just ran to a car and just pulled up?
I think this is what you need to realize, Daniel. When you're
magic.
watching, first of all, there is such a thing as movie magic.
Movie magic.
Second, in the realm of like slasher films, there's a lot of bent reality. I mean,
all right.
I think that's all I can really say for it. Like, logistically, could she have thrown a person through a window and then got into her car and ran to her car and then driven up to this? Probably not, but she did because it's a slasher film.
Okay. So, as I was saying, Mrs. Voorhees introduces herself. She starts talking about the story of how Jason drowned and mentions today was his birthday. She turns violent and pulls out a large knife, exposing in her hand the class ring that we've been seeing throughout the movie this whole time. And Alice starts to defend herself with a fireplace poker and gets away running.
That's what I appreciate, is that this girl constantly tries to defend herself.
She's the only one in the whole movie.
Yeah.
That does this. So good, kudos on you.
Kudos to you.
While fleeing, she finds Steve and Annie's body. Mrs. Voorhees gets up, turns on the generator, and looks for Alice. She eventually finds Alice in a shed, but Alice gets away again and heads back to the main cabin. Mrs. Voorhees now picks up the machete that was in this little tool shed and rushes into the cabin at Alice, breaking down the door. Alice hits her with a frying pan and knocks that bitch out. And then Alice believes that she's dead, heads out of the cabin, and goes and sits by the lake. Mrs. Voorhees comes running at her again, and they start getting into like a little wrestling match. Mm-hmm. Alice gains the upper hand and gets the machete and decapitates her. In shock, she jumps into a canoe that drifts off into the lake and falls asleep. And you start getting this little, nice little music start playing.
Very serene.
She awakens to the police arriving. As they near the canoe, out comes and jumps at her Jason. The canoe kind of flips, the scene then kind of breaks off and she's in a hospital bed. As she awakens, she asks about the boy and they state that he was never there. Next, the movie, pans out to the camp lake and nice, calm, peaceful music and everything and is playing again and it just looks all nice and peaceful.
Yeah, I was actually kind of waiting for Jason to kind of like bob his head again when I watched this for the first time. But that was the only part that got me because I didn't know that happened. I always knew that Mrs. Voorhees was the original serial killer.
I forgot that it happened and then I had to I watched it. I'm like, whoa, that was really quick. And then I tried to rewind it and kept trying to pause it so I could see what he looked like. And I kept missing it. I probably did it like 5 times.
He looked messed
Why didn't
up.
you just Google it?
I don't know. I wasn't in the moment thinking of that. But then I was like, so I got this question for you. Why is he messed up? Like, if you drowned, your body's not going to be, to me, he looked like a burn victim.
Well, in general, Daniel, Jason Voorhees was deformed.
Okay.
Severely deformed.
Mm-hmm.
So is this camp for special needs?
No, I believe the story is that his mom sent him there, and because he was different, everyone made fun of him, and that's why they pushed him in the water.
Oh, they're like, oh, he'll go to summer camp, and he'll gain, the respect of others and not be different, and that just backfired.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like it was one of those things where she worked there, so they allowed him to be there, and she just so happened to not be either working that day or paying attention, and they were taunting him and making fun of him, and he accidentally drowned in the river. I don't think the kids intentionally tried to kill him, but I think they didn't realize that he wasn't a strong swimmer.
Do they try to reenact that in the future movies? Is that in a scene sometime?
I believe there's a flashback in 4 or 5.
But I think when you were referring to him looking like a burn victim, I think some of that muck is
the stuff in the lake.
Yeah, I think that he's just supposed to be coated and stuff in the lake because
I didn't put that together.
I'm just saying. But that's the only thing that got me at the end because I totally forgot that he jumps out of the water because you don't expect it because I don't think they mention really at all Mrs. Voorhees.
No, I kind of forgot about that scene altogether, and I'm like, maybe he's just in a different cabin. I forget, and then and then it sparked my memory.
He's just
seeing that scene.
They kind of make you believe at the end of that film, and who knows what the intention was. I mean, I'm sure mega fans do that. That was supposed to be a dream sequence of sorts.
Yeah.
And then
So how about for you, Matt? What was the first Friday the 13th you saw?
I don't even remember. Probably 2 or 3.
Did you see them all in order?
No, I saw this one way after the fact.
Yeah, because to me, I jumped around. I probably saw 5 first.
I saw Freddy versus Jason first.
And the 5th one, and then it just...
I think Freddy versus Jason was when I got really into it. But
yeah,
I would have seen the others, a few of them before.
Yeah, the individual different ones of Friday the 13th, I haven't seen as many of them, but what you're saying, when it came to Freddy versus Jason, it seemed like that got more hype.
Yeah, that's what
because that's more of the time, I guess I was more of watching those type of movies.
Yeah, I think because it was around us being,
I believe it was 2003.
Yeah, so we were just knocking on being teenagers, so that's
we
kind
gotta
of
watch a scary movie.
Yeah, exactly. So that I think that it a movie like that, like Freddy versus Jason, revitalized that franchise for our generation of sorts.
Yeah, for a long time,
let's go back and watch all those movies to find out who this Jason guy is, because all we know is that he's a guy with a hockey mask that has a machete.
I didn't even realize there was that many. When we pulled it up, I was like, really?
Yeah, there's a bunch. There's a lot. I know I have not seen all of them. I definitely have not seen Jason X. And I think I've seen probably... I don't think I've seen
Is that the one where he's in space?
Yep.
Okay.
Which is... That alone is amazing. And I don't think I've seen Jason Takes Manhattan. That I have...
That's one of my favorite. Because that's
Really?
one of the first ones I remember seeing.
Yeah.
Because it was on AMC's Fear Fest all the time.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Now you, Matthew, correct me if I'm wrong, you have Jason tattooed on you, do you not?
I do.
What makes you love Jason so much to the point where you ink him on your skin because you're just that hardcore?
No, I mean, I just like... It's all horror movie stuff.
That's true.
The three that I liked the most were Freddy, Jason, and Captain Spaulding. So that's what I went with. For like the big centerpieces of that. But I mean, there's references to a lot of other things, so.
Yeah. I just didn't know if there was something that stuck out to you like the most out of
No. It was
else.
just that, and Freddy and Jason were always the two that I paid the most attention to growing up.
Yeah.
So it's just, nothing that special.
Very cool, very cool. All right, so now that we have gotten through the plot of the movie, and you now know that Mrs. Voorhees is the baddie, we're going to go to questions of the damned. All right, Matt, are you ready for questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did it take to film Friday the 13th? 14 days, 28 days, 42 days.
It's a tough one. 28.
Is that what you're going with?
Yeah. Oh, shit. All right.
28 days. All right, Daniel.
Yes.
What other horror film greatly inspired this one? Halloween, Town That Dreaded Sundown, or Deep Red?
Halloween.
Very big inspiration.
They took the same name as some of the people, right?
Yeah, there's an Annie, there's a Linda, and they have admitted, the original writers of the first one at least, that they were hopping on those coattails of 1978's Halloween. But hey, man, do what you gotta do.
Do you, boo-boo?
All right, Matthew. Gotta do you, boo-boo. What was a working title for the film? A Mother's Love, Long Night at Camp Blood, or Camp Crystal Lake? A Mother's Love, Long Night at Camp Blood, or Camp Crystal Lake?
So I want to say, because they were unoriginal bastards, there was a Long Night at Camp Blood.
Damn it.
Very good. Mother's Love would just give it away.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I have them sometimes. All right, Daniel. When is Jason Voorhees' birthday? June 13th, July 13th, or August 13th?
What's my choices?
June, July, or August 13th?
I'll go with June. And I did that because I'm thinking peak summer camp season would be June, July, August, but it would probably start in the beginning of June, and then nobody's there yet.
Wasn't June 13th, 1946, like an actual Friday? The 13th?
I think so.
That's what I thought. I thought that's where they got it from.
All right. Matthew, what is the body count of this film? 7, 11, or 13?
Fuck. 7? Fuck.
11.
See, it was either 7 or 13, so...
Yeah, it's 11, and they always include the snake in the body count, so it's 11 including the snake.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
That's what they said in the
That's
thing,
why I was
man.
missing the snake. That's why I went with 7.
Oh, yeah.
You would have been at 8 then.
That's exactly.
Still wrong.
That's not the point.
He's like, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. All right, I have one more question.
Is that me?
Yes, it is you, actually.
Okay.
So Matt has the chance to tie, and you have a chance to take it all. This film has an infamous score that indicates that trouble is afoot. What is the correct format of this score? Ch 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 ha ha ha, he he ha ha ha, or ki ma ma ma?
Can you redo it again?
Now, you only get one.
Can I look at your phone?
No,
Read
because
it off?
I have it marked. Which one's the right one?
Can you really do it again then?
Oh my god. It's chi 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 ha ha ha, he ha ha ha, or ki ma ma ma?
A. Chi 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 ha ha ha.
It's ki ma ma ma. Kill and mommy.
All right, so you're both tied, and I kind of did this on purpose.
Bonus round.
Yeah, you got a bonus.
Fight.
You got a bonus.
I got a bonus.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
The movie takes place during 2 different years on June 13th. What were the 2 years? Matt, as usual, you can text me your answer if you have it.
Wait, I have to know this? Like, I have to write it in?
No, as we normally do when there's a bonus, Matt will text it in, and then once I have his answer, I ask you to say yours aloud, and then I'll read his aloud.
Oh, there's no choices?
No, there's no choices. There's this movie.
I lost!
Now just think about it. Hold on, I'm going to help you both a little bit. This movie takes place in 2 different years.
Yeah, I know that. I already lost.
Or this one could be a tie again. There's already another tie this season so far, and there's 85 movies this season, so don't think about it too deep.
Alexa.
Yeah, right.
Alexa, what were the 2 years that Jason or Friday the 13th takes place?
Well, Daniel, it is this. Stupid bitch.
Wow.
Why is our Alexa so aggressive?
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Because I'm always like, turn the lights off!
I know, because it doesn't really
Turn the fucking lights
Well,
off!
here's the thing, Daniel. Just like with this show, you talk so low that it's just like, nope.
Mumble, fuck you.
All right, Daniel, what would your guess be?
What'd you say? It started?
Okay,
I
so the
wasn't even paying
movie
attention.
takes place.
I know
in
it takes
2
place. I
different
think you
years.
said 43, and then I'm going to go with 7 years later, so 50.
58, and then my other guess was 79.
So, okay, so Matt said 58, 79. You said 43 and 50.
Yeah, and I'm probably way off then.
Matt is correct.
With both years?
Yep, with both
Shit.
years.
All right.
I knew you'd win. I knew I lost it. I wasn't paying attention to the dates.
Hey, listen though. This was a tie up until this
I
very
probably
moment.
even wrote it in one of my notes.
You did not. I did not read it. That's why I kept the bonus question what it was. I've been adding extra questions into my notes just in case. But yeah, no, 1958 and 1979. So 58 was the year after Jason died. Mm-hmm. Jason died in 57. The 2 kids were murdered the following year.
I didn't put that together.
Yep. And then...
But I was way off on the dates anyway.
I knew 58 because I remember seeing it on the TV. The second one was a guess, and I only went with 79 because the movie came out in 80, and I'm like, I bet it's around
Was it 7 years later?
No, math genius. 58 and 79 is
21.
21 years.
Oh, all right. I was way off.
All right. Well, Matt takes this round, and that's totally fine.
Good old sport.
I need to get like Matt victory music and Dan victory music. You just want cheering for your victory music?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It'll be rarely heard. Anyway, so we're going to move on to the next segment of this show. Our yay, nay, or slay, as if you're familiar, you know what that means. Yay, you love the movie, you'd watch it again. It's in your collection. Nay, you're not really mad you watched it. You're kind of happy that you at least have the knowledge in your brain, but it's not something you're going to reach for on a spooky, stormy night. And slay, you absolutely despised it. Matt, what are you going with?
Yay! Like, I think it's probably one of the worst Friday the 13th movies, but for what it is, you kind of have to watch it.
For sure. I agree. Daniel?
It's also a yay. I haven't seen every Friday the 13th, but now that I've seen it, I want to see the rest of them.
Yeah.
And I think this is on our Halloween playlist.
Of course it is, because I'm a completionist. I need to have the first, at least, of all franchises. Yeah. But I agree with all three of them, with our imaginary friend and 2 others. No, I agree. It's definitely a yay. I think it's... For what it is, like Matt said, it is something that I think you need to watch if you want to kind of know the origins of Jason, even though he's not technically really in it until the very last moment. I think it's something that you need to see at least once if you are a horror movie fan, especially slashers, and especially if you want to get into someone like Jason and the Friday the 13th franchise. So yeah, it's a triple yay, and that's rare for us. We only do it so often, so take it for what it's worth, because I don't think it's going to happen for at least the next 2 movies.
Well, for what it's worth, this is the 3rd triple yay of the season.
Yeah, but it's a long season.
No, I know, but there's going to be quite the dip here until we pick things up a little bit later.
True. So next time on Monster Madness, we are watching a movie that I've never seen. I don't know if these two have seen it. It's called Madman. It's from 1981.
I have seen this, but...
You've seen it?
I've seen Madman, but it's been a long time.
Are you sure you're not thinking of the television show Mad Men?
I could be thinking of that. I'll have to tell you after I see it.
All right. Well, yeah, so 1981 Madman is what we're covering in 2 weeks, because we are back to our 2-week bi-weekly schedule. So October is over. We are in November.
It's almost turkey season, motherfucker.
It is. Gobble, gobble, motherfucker. And I think you kind of have a feeling of what our Thanksgiving
theme is.
Matt is
so excited.
Real.
Nice bitch.
What? I was just about to do it.
I forgot that line. I have to re-download the first one to watch it just so I can.
Well, it's like 45
remember.
minutes long.
Yeah, that's true. Thank God for that. So, yes, this November you will have your regularly scheduled 2 episodes and then a bonus Thanksgiving episode. And I think you can guess what movie we're going to cover. We're finishing out a series. But yeah, so thanks so much for listening to our Friday the 13th episode. We enjoy that you come and join us on these journeys with us. Good, bad, ugly, drunk, whatever. We appreciate you. Yeah. What we would appreciate more is 5-star reviews, but I'm not going to beg for them. I'm not going to beg.
If you give us a 5-star review, maybe I'll give you a sticker.
Look at you, just tossing out the sticker.
Yep, we got him.
Matt, do you have something you want to say? Your hands up.
There's Thanksgiving the musical.
Oh God! Well, I know what we're going to be doing in 2021.
If we're still alive, who knows?
A lot of jazz hands.
Yeah.
Nice tits, bitch.
With jazz hands.
Oh my God. Thank you again. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Oh, my Lord. So young. So pretty. Oh, what monster could have done this?
Bill's out there.
Oh, God, this place. Steve should never have opened this place again. There's been too much trouble here. Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those 2 others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention. They were making love while that young boy drowned. His name was Jason. I was working the day that it happened, preparing meals. Here, I was the cook. Jason should have been watched every minute. He wasn't a very good swimmer. We can go now.